This is the most exclusive street in the entire city. Every house behind these gates costs more than most people earn in a lifetime. And right now, every single neighbor on it suddenly wants to be your best friend. They bring you gifts. They save you a seat. They invite you to everything, whether you want to go or not. And these are the exact same kind of people who used to pretend they couldn't even see you. Nothing about you actually changed. Only the address on your mail did. But to understand how you got here, you have to go all the way back to the very bottom. Level 1. The cheapest apartment on the worst block you could afford, with everything you own packed into 2 bags. You carry your things up 4 flights of stairs while nobody so much as holds a door. The neighbors here don't wave. They watch you through the crack in the door like a problem that just moved in. The guy on the other side of the wall pounds on it your very first night, just to let you know you're not welcome. You become the stranger everyone quietly keeps an eye on. Conversations drop a little when you walk by. The landlord treats you like you're already behind on rent, weeks before it's even due. So you keep your head down and your music low, doing everything you can just to avoid one more fight. But one old woman 2 floors down leaves a bowl of soup at your door when she hears you're sick and never mentions it again. It's the first bit of warmth this whole building has shown you, and you don't forget it. So on that thin mattress at 2 in the morning, you promise yourself this block is only the beginning. Level 2. A cleaner rental in a neighborhood that at least feels safe enough to finally breathe in. The neighbors here don't hate you. It's almost worse than that. They just don't see you at all. You're a polite nod in an elevator and nothing more. Half of them couldn't pick you out of a lineup. You carry a misdelivered package to the right door and barely get a thank you before it closes. To this street, you are furniture. Present, occasionally useful, and completely forgettable. You work late every single night while the windows around you glow with lives you're not invited into. Nobody here is cruel. They just save their warmth for people who already look like they belong. You tell yourself that being invisible is still a quiet step up from being unwanted. Level 3. Your first real house. Small, old, a little crooked, but the name on the deed is finally yours. The neighbors finally learn your name, mostly because they're dying to know how you ended up on their street. An older couple brings over a pie. Half of it is a welcome, and half of it is a quiet inspection. They ask what you do, how you afford it, and whether you're really the kind of person who fits in around here. You get invited to the block barbecue, but you can quietly feel it's on a kind of trial basis. So you mow your lawn a little too perfectly and wave a little too eagerly just to prove that you belong. Acceptance on this street is polite, conditional, and quietly measured every single time you step outside. But for the first time in years, walking up to your own front door, you feel something close to normal. Level 4. A nicer house on a street where the lawns are competitive and the smiles are a little too wide. Now the neighbors wave first. Now they suddenly remember your birthday and your exact coffee order. You get invited to the good barbecues now, the ones with printed invitations and an actual guest list. The same guy who wouldn't look at you 2 streets ago now proudly introduces you as his good friend. People start asking you for favors, carefully dressed up as friendly little chats over the fence. You lend out a drill, a truck, a spare hand, and just like that, you're the most popular guy on the block. The welcome is genuinely warmer now, but you can feel most of it is quietly tied to the size of the house. Neighbors who never once helped you move now offer to water your plants while you're away. Your driveway slowly becomes the spot where the whole street stops just to chat with you. You get called dependable, generous, the good kind of neighbor, and you almost start to believe it. And you start to notice something strange. The friendliness grows at the exact same speed as the address does. Level 5. An upscale home on a street that photographs beautifully and forgives absolutely nothing. Now the whole neighborhood quietly competes over who gets to have you over first. You're on the good lists now. The dinner parties, the wine nights, the private street group chats. People you've genuinely never met walk up and greet you like the 2 of you grew up together. And every warm hello now comes with a small, quiet ask folded neatly inside of it. You throw a party and half the street shows up and most of them came to see the house, not you. So you start doing quiet math on every warm smile, wondering what each one is really counting. You get added to group chats you never asked to join, full of favors disguised as good mornings. A neighbor you barely know asks you to be godfather to a child you've never even met. The more the street gives you, the more you quietly wonder what it's slowly expecting back. The whole street loves you now. You just can't tell how much of that love is actually meant for you. Level 6. A big house behind a low wall with a pool that ends up in everyone's photos except your own. Suddenly, you have far more neighbors than you ever realized actually lived on this street. They openly compete over who's closest to you, who knew you first, who really deserves the invite. The same homeowners association that used to fine you now practically begs you to join the board. Invitations, pitches, can't miss deals, all of it wrapped up to look exactly like neighborly love. A neighbor films your kitchen for her followers and completely forgets that you're standing right there. You throw the biggest party the street has ever seen, and afterward, you can't name half of the guests. People start quoting things you never said and fondly remembering favors you never actually did. You slowly become less of a person to them and more of an address everyone wants to be seen at. Every single door on the street is open to you now, and not one of them feels like it actually means it. Level 7. The gated street from the very beginning of this whole story. Up here, the neighbors don't just like you. They perform for you as if there's always a camera watching. Gifts appear on your doorstep every single morning from people you have genuinely never spoken to once. Every wave hides a favor. Every dinner invitation quietly comes with a number attached to it. They name drop you at parties you were never even invited to, just to borrow a little of your shine. You could fill your table with anyone on this street using nothing but a single text message. And still, night after night, the one seat that actually matters to you stays completely empty. You reach the very top of the street a person can climb to, and it turns out it echoes, just like the bottom did. So one quiet night, you walk every street you've ever lived on back through your head, and you finally notice something. The neighbors who shower you with gifts today never once knocked on your door back when you had nothing. But you remember the old woman 2 floors down who left soup at your door and never asked for a single thing. You remember the guy who helped you drag your mattress up 4 flights of stairs and never once asked you why. And the family on that modest street who invited you to dinner back when you had absolutely nothing to offer them. You'd trade this entire gated street, every mansion on it, for just one more dinner on that old block. The warmest street you ever lived on was the one that had the very least to give. You spent your whole life climbing toward a better address and quietly leaving the better neighbors behind. So you decide, right there, that the address was never really the point at all. You spend weeks quietly tracking down every neighbor who was kind to you back when you were nobody. You buy the old woman who made you soup a warm little house of her very own, fully paid off. You quietly pay off the mortgage of the family that fed you long before you were ever worth anything. And then you fill your grand, echoing table with the people from the very bottom of the street. The crowd that only ever showed up for the pool and the photos doesn't make the guest list this time. You find the man who helped carry your mattress and hand him the keys to a real home of his own. None of them ever asked you for a thing. That's exactly how you knew who they really were. And for the first time on any street you've ever lived on, the house finally feels genuinely full. You climbed 7 streets to finally learn that the roof over your head was never the thing keeping you warm. So here's the question that's actually worth sitting with. At every level of street you'll ever live on, which neighbors would you actually want standing next door?